What's happening, guys? Brandon here. Just before we get to the review portion of this video, we just wanted to let you know that, unfortunately, we just found out that Rex Garrod, the builder of Cassius, Recyclops, and Brum the Car, sadly passed away this morning. For over 20 years, Rex Garrod has inspired many robot builders, teams, and fans alike, and for that, we thank you, Rex. What is happening, Robot Wars, BattleBots, and BuggleBots fans alike? Hardcore Kid here with another episode of the Hardcore Podcast. Joining me today, I have Otaku Nate.
Oh, G1 Supercard. Yeah, this is our life. Pump it up, pump it up.
Speaking of Heat G.
Sorry about that. I don't really have a clever intro for this week.
We tried. Also joining us, since Russ Barrow is in this episode that we're going to be reviewing, it makes sense to have the guy who owns one of his Dark Pounder bots. It's other Nate Franklin.
Oh, hi everyone. Good to be here.
Hey.
Always good to hear from you, Nate.
Yep. And today is a very special episode of the Hardcore Podcast because we're going to be reviewing Heat G of Robot Wars Extreme Warriors, or, as it's been come to known as, Tank Bowl! Yes, Tank Bowl. An episode that features a bunch of military-themed robots and teams. And also joining us, Nate.
We already introduced Nate.
Yeah,
Nate.
come on, man.
Yep. And it only makes sense that Nate's Skype username is Infernal Tank.
Yeah, it's an anagram of my name, which I think I just came up with it in like middle school, and like
Wow.
it stuck.
That is so amazing. I never thought of it that way.
Nice.
Yeah, I
So-
just put it into one of those like anagram generators, and that's what popped up. And like,
Nice.
I'm really happy that my name has a like really nice anagram. But anyway, continue.
I'm honestly surprised that you haven't named one of your robots Infernal Tank.
Oh damn! I probably should get on that.
You should, once you start working on your heavy, you should name it Infernal Tank.
Yeah.
Yep, so, yeah, a lot of tank-themed robots, a lot of military teams, and one of the military teams was the Heat winner, and it is called Destructive Criticism.
Destructive Criticism. Spinner.
And when I first started getting into the robot sport, my first initial design for a heavyweight robot was something exactly like Destructive Criticism. A four-wheel drive box with a spinning disc on the front.
It's a worthy Heat winner. It's sturdily built, good construction. Disc not the most powerful I've seen, but considering that this is Robot Wars Extreme Warriors, it works.
Yeah, this was back when spinners spun at only like 700 RPM or such. So
Yeah.
it did some decent damage. It messed up Runaway's wheels. It completely destroyed Lightning Track's sides. Got some hits on Marauder, but yeah, it's a definite Heat winner.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Nate? Other Nate?
Okay, thank you for clarifying, because I hesitated for a moment. I was like, wait, which Nate? Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a nice bot. Obviously, for its time, it did pretty nice. I think the name is nice. You can't really think of a better weapon for a bot called Destructive Criticism than a horizontal spinning disc. But yeah, it's a pretty solid bot.
Although I will say the wedge at the back was kind of useless.
Yeah,
I think it was just there for like show or something.
Yeah.
or just like
Just
worst case snenario, use the wedge.
Wedge.
So if it faced another horizontal spinner, it could just grind its opponent down.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but worthy winner. And Randy Eubanks, I think I'm thinking of the name. He competed in BattleBots too. Didn't he compete in BattleBots with the Garb? I think it was called.
Hang on, I brought the wiki up just to be just to prepare myself.
Because I saw that disc looks like it was
Gold
on...
Digger.
Oh, Gold Digger!
Oh!
Nice.
The disc, it says Destructive Criticism's disc actually came from Garm, a Season 3.0 middleweight built by Don LaRiviere of Team Revelation, the same team who built the Panzermark series of robots.
Nice.
And so the disc was on loan, which that's pretty nice.
In Tank we trust.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I really like this robot and happy it won the heat, and it was definitely the best robot out of the other five bots to win, because the heat winner of this episode was a team with another military theme, General Chomsalot 2.
General Chomsalot 2. Beta Bot.
Yeah, General Chomsalot, I will say this, the original Chomsalot wasn't all that destructive. Like, really, all the Jaws could do was grab onto something.
Yeah.
This one actually has some crushing power to it.
Yeah,
it looks cool.
We didn't see, it didn't look like it has too much of it, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, but I think really what you really need when you have a bot like this, you need something that is able to get a good grip on bots, just drag them around the arena and get them into the pit or the house robots and stuff. And
the problem I have with it is that red tongue in the middle. Like, it feels like it gets in the way of actually clamping down on things.
I think, what is that tongue like? It looks like a pillow. Or a
Yeah, I
flag
think it was
or something.
just, wasn't that like decoration or something?
I think it was
sure.
there to protect the mechanism or something.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, General Chomsalot. I'm not a huge fan, and yes, I am still salty because people love to make fun of Tornado cheating. I'm still salty about General Chomsalot with the whole labyrinth thing from Robotica. But with that said, Tim Berghofer seems he's a good chap. He built a really cool bot, and he did fairly all right. He didn't really have a hugely difficult time getting through the heat final. He even ended up having to take out his own tag team partner to get here, but a decent heat finalist. What do you think, Nate?
Other Nate?
Otaku Nate.
Oh, okay. You gotta clarify every time.
Yeah.
Since this is Tank Bowl, I'm going to refer to other Nate as Infernal Tank.
Okay, that makes sense.
What do you think, Otaku Nate?
As I said, I'm actually keen on the General Chomsalot series. I think it's a cool concept. Of course, Bucky the Robot, I feel is like the spiritual successor to General Chomsalot. But I feel that its biggest weakness is that I think that making its jaws fully hydraulic kind of limited the range of the jaws, if that makes any sense. Like, it couldn't really clamp on to as many robots easily as it could in, say, the War of Independence.
Yeah. What do you think, Infernal Tank?
No, I mean, I know we're gonna go into like its first round fight, but I think I don't know. I need to rewatch like the first season to see the comparison with like the jaw geometry. But if I remember correctly, the previous one did a lot more wheelies, I think.
Yeah, it has that little spike on the back to keep it from wheeling, so it kind of helped. But yeah, it's okay. It was a good showing overall, I think, by the General. And we'll talk about its now former tag team partner, the new and improved Runaway.
Runaway, Robotica champion.
Yeah, Runaway to me, it's a robot that is definitely it does really well when it's doing like sumo matches. Like when that's how it won Robotica. It was outlasting everybody in the fight to the finish. But as far as like full combat goes, going up against spinners, it just seems too fragile to me. Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's my biggest problem I have with Runaway, is that it's basically just the Robotica entry, but with two spinning blades that can't really do anything attached to it.
Yeah.
And a motor that was visible from the top, which makes it vulnerable to axes.
Yeah, it's a shame, because Runaway does have 2 wins under its belt, but in both those wins, it's still kind of got knocked around and beaten up. But
not to mention that gaping ground clearance.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's lucky there's virtually no flippers in the series, because if it fought any flippers,
It did. Well, you could technically call General Chomps a lot of lifter because it was able to use the jaw.
Yeah,
to just lift
but
it over.
I meant like the more pneumatic or nitrogen powered sort of flipper, like an Eruption or a Bronco.
Yeah, it's a shame, and God bless the team. They did what they could. They managed to make it to the second round despite getting completely destroyed by destructive criticism, and apparently this thing also had to go through a complete rebuild for the Nickelodeon Tag Team Series.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Yeah,
It got pretty messed up in its fight with destructive criticism. Like, didn't Chomps? We'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll get into it later, but Runaway is not the greatest robot, but it definitely has heart. I will say.
The little, like, I mean, obviously, Run Amok and Runaway are, I guess, kind of sort of two separate bots, because like they're both different compositions, but they're still like technically the same bot. But it's definitely the little robot that could, and I think it's like you said, it's got a lot of heart.
Rest in peace, Aaron Jorger.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the other second round finisher, and what a plucky little robot this thing is. It's Marauder.
Middleweight.
Is this like the lightest or the second lightest robot to ever compete in a heavyweight event in Robot Wars? Like, how heavy was the middleweight in Series 8?
I think it was like 51 kilos or something.
So it was
I'm
about.
gonna look this up now.
51 kilos. Do the math.
I think that's heavier because it's 2.2 for converting kilos to pounds.
Sweeney Todd was 112.2 pounds. So yeah, this is the lightest robot to ever compete in a domestic Robot Wars championship. And I will give credit to this little thing. It's tough. I mean, it went up against General Chomps a lot and G-Force, and yeah, it was doing a lot of running, but it was like Chomps a lot couldn't get a hold of it.
It held up very well. It was durable. The biggest problem I have with Marauder is outside of its size is its weapon. Not that it's tiny, but it's just ball bearings. Really?
Yeah.
Do you really expect to do any sort of damage outside of some dents with that thing? Because if you're using ball bearings, you're not really going to get any gashes or cause any serious trauma to the opposing robot. All you're just going to do is lightly batter it just like this.
Did you hear that?
Barely.
It was like tap. Yeah, exactly. He was just tapping the mic. Yeah, it's a plucky little bot, but the weapon really didn't have all that much power to it. The balls couldn't do any damage. The most damage it ever did was knocking off the sticker off the top of destructive criticism.
Yeah.
And that was it. Yeah, but to its credit, they hung on in there. They lasted longer than I expected they would, especially against destructive criticism. But yeah, when you're entering a middleweight robot into a heavyweight event, you're up against it basically. But yeah, what can you do? So we'll move on to the first round dropouts, and two very similar looking robots. In fact, you may as well say both are tanks, except one is more of a fighter jet type robot. Stealth bomber. We'll start with G-Force.
G-Force. Axebot?
Apparently, it's two lifting arms that double as axes.
These axes that never worked.
No. And it's like the one time it did work was in the tag match against Snookums and Bang, and again didn't do anything, which is a shame.
Yeah, it just like, are they hydraulic powered, or electric powered, or something?
They kind of look I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure either.
Because, like, I think Mortis could do more damage with its axe than whatever these things are.
And weakness is no self-righting mechanism. If you're an axe bot and you can't self-right, that's not good.
Yes. Very not good.
Yeah.
Like Rex Garrod, he invented the self-righting mechanism, and He definitely inspired a lot of teams. But,
If you're a flipper robot and you can't self-right, you have a serious problem. Cough, Colossus, cough.
and Falcon.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. But it's a shame. Like, they do much better in the Tag Terror, but I just wish G-Force... I had so much more hope for G-Force, because it's a fast machine. I would have liked to see the axes
I love
work.
the design of this thing.
Yeah,
Absolutely
it's really
beautiful.
sleek and...
And
It has a sleek but grungy look to it. I love it.
Yeah.
And I know this team also competed in Robotica with the Kraken, which had this wacky paint job. It's not the exact same robot, but it's basically like the same kind of design with the axes. Which I'm surprised they didn't use the axes as glass breakers, because I thought they'd make good glass breakers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's unfortunate. What do you think of G-Force Infernal Tank?
No, you basically just said all that. It's sleek. Unfortunately, it didn't do very well, but it's still a neat looking bot, and yeah, that's really all I can say.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the ultimate tank in this episode, Lightning Tracks.
Lightning tracks. Tank!
Yeah, Russ Barrow is an absolute legend in the sport. I mean, he's given us Dark Pounder, Dark Pummeler, Dark Track, which is basically Lightning Tracks, but without the turret. And yeah, and he's built some really cool and very scary machines. But Lightning Tracks
Is not one of them.
The only reason Lightning Tracks didn't do well is because it wasn't made of folded sheet metal and glue. Like, I have Dark Pounder in front of me, and it's literally made with bent titanium and glue.
Awesome.
I can only see 8 fasteners.
Oh my god.
Everything is glued in. Like, all the motors, except for, I think, the weapon motor, get glued in. I showed this to a friend of mine who's, like, a legit engineer, and he had one of those, like, he just, like, stared at it like his brain had, like, a blue screen of death. Like, it just completely baffled him, and it, like, completely destroyed everything he's ever learned while becoming an engineer.
Was it Flex Glue?
It's magic. I'm just gonna say magic.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to people, and they're like, his bots should not work. But they do.
Yeah, but Lightning Tracks, unfortunately, Russ said he was having radio reception issues, and keep in mind this is 2002, before the days of Spectrum Radio. So when you're in a film studio and you're getting all kinds of radio interference, you're going to be having some trouble. So
also, can I just say one thing about Lightning Tracks? This could not escape my mind. This is basically Slicer from the Dutch Wars.
Oh, yeah.
It's the exact same design as Slicer.
Kinda. It doesn't have the drum spinner.
Yeah, I
It
know.
has
It's
basically Slicer without a drum.
Could you imagine if Russ built a heavyweight version of something like this, and instead of the flipper, it had the vertical spinner like a Dark Pummeler?
That would be insane.
Can you imagine a heavyweight Dark Pounder?
Dude, Russ Barrow, BattleBot Season 4 champion right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame, and this is the only time we get to see Russ in Robot Wars. He had this one match, he got taken apart, and we never saw him again.
Yeah.
They couldn't even give him a loner bot to play with? Or they just run out of loner bots?
I think the latter.
Yeah, they ran out of loner bots.
Yeah, it's a shame. But we love Russ. We've fought his bots a couple times, and he's hell of a driver, hell of a bot builder, and really knows how to work with glue, as Nate shows us. But yeah, so I guess we'll move on to the matches now, and we'll start off with G-Force versus Marauder versus General Chomps-a-Lot 2 in a game of Tag, You're It. Tag, You're It.
Tag, I'm it.
Tag, You're It.
Sorry, I was on my phone.
Why were you on your phone?
I don't know, but what are we doing?
We're reviewing G-Force versus Marauder versus General Chomps-a-Lot 2.
Yeah, this was, again, it was pretty much a lot of Robot Wars Extreme Warriors first round matches where not a lot happens in the match. G-Force...
Credit to Marauder for being able to hang on in there, but it's like G-Force was just pushing him around. General Chomps-a-Lot ran on top of stuff.
Yeah.
Got stuck on Refbot at one point.
I think, sorry to cut in.
Got stuck on G-Force.
General Chompsalot had probably like some of the worst draw because they're two bots that are very awkward to like handle in its jaws. So it's like trying to like if it like in its other fights it had a easier time because the bots that we were facing were very easy to clamp down on. But for this, it was just going up their wedges, and it was a real pain. And if it was in like another fight, it probably would have gone better.
Yeah, Marauder's shape is not ideal for a crusher like General Chompsalot.
It's got that nice skirt around it.
And it also has a rounded top, too.
Yeah.
So it's basically like the perfect design to fight something like General Chompsalot. But...
If only it were bigger.
And thicker! No, I'm just kidding.
Extra thick!
But yeah, so G-Force ended up breaking down. And then General Chompsalot got stuck on top of it on the floor flipper. And then I'm thinking, oh, come on, I hope the floor flipper flips both of them at the same time. No, Refbot just pushes General Chompsalot off the flipper, which made me sad, but I will say G-Force did get some nice air.
Yeah, G-Force went flying, man.
Well, it's
sort
based
of like
on a fighter
stealth
jet.
bomber that just got shot down.
Yeah, well, bye-bye, G-Force. See you in the tag team. And, yeah, so Marauder and General Chompsalot go through, and we get Destructive Criticism versus Lightning Tracks versus Runaway.
This is very much a one-robot fight.
Yeah.
For the most part, Lightning Tracks, or rather, Runaway got stuck on top of Lightning Tracks. Neither robot could go anywhere. Lightning Tracks was having radio issues, and Destructive Criticism took full advantage of the situation by knocking Runaway's wheels off.
When I first watched this match, I was a bit confused, because I was thinking... Didn't Runaway break down first? But then I looked again, and you can tell that Lightning Tracks was definitely immobilized first, because you see they're just sitting there on the floor spinner, not moving, and then Runaway just ramps itself right over Lightning Tracks, and that was it. And then Destructive Criticism just beat the hell out of both bots, and it was glorious!
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a match, but Although it did give us a pretty cool floor flipper bit where the flipper goes off and you just see pieces flying everywhere.
Yeah.
That was cool. But yeah, that's the only time we get to see Russ in Robot Wars, and it's a shame. But
yeah.
What can you do? So, on to round 2. The first match is against the ex-tag team partners of General Chompsalot and Runaway, and yeah, there's really nothing to say about this match. Just... Runaway went for the pit button, General Chompsalot got under it, bit into its drive chain, and flipped it over. The end.
Yep. Yeah, General Chompsalot, Sergeant Bash really got in onto the good stuff underneath the Runaway. Bit in one of its steering bars, it looked like.
Yeah.
If there is one funny thing I like to say about this match, is when Refbot counts Runaway out, and then Bash and Dead Metal come in to attack each other and end up crashing into each other, and then Dead Metal breaks down and has to be pushed out of the way by Refbot. Season 2 is not a good time for Dead Metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a shame, and I'm actually kind of disappointed, because I think aside from Mark and Aaron Jaeger, they never nobody else even really mentioned these two were tag team partners at any point.
Yeah.
Yeah. What can you do?
But,
anything else to say about this match? It wasn't much of a match.
No. It was just Chompsalot doing what it's supposed to do, biting on bots, and that's pretty much it.
Num.
Yeah.
And
so the next second round match was Marauder versus Destructive Criticism in a surprisingly competitive match.
Yeah, you gotta, as I said, Marauder, it's the little robot that could. It did well, it stood up to its attacks, largely thanks to its shape with that domed top, because of its rounded top, it's a lot easier for it to deflect spinners, but its size was its ultimate disadvantage. There is no way that puny weapon would ever do any sort of significant damage to Destructive Criticism, and it wound up down the pit, and we got to see what was written underneath.
You win.
Yeah. I have to say that's one of the greatest messages ever written on the underbelly of a robot.
Not more than I'll be back.
Who said that?
Lamsey. It said it on the lamb.
No, my favorite is Steel Avengers. Who did that?
Oh, that's the best one ever.
Actually, no. The winner goes to Juggernaut 2 because what it said on its underbelly or base panel says it all. Oops.
That whole
I
robot
love that.
was one giant oops. What'd you think of this match, Infernal Tank?
No, I'm actually I'm looking at the clip right now, and it looks like a battery or something is hanging off the bottom of or the back of Marauder. I'm not sure what.
That's the directional tail thingy. So
Yeah.
that they know
Oh,
which way
really?
they're driving. Yeah. So because you know how a lot of those full-bodied spinners
Yeah.
are very difficult to see the front. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's there to show which way they're going. But yeah. So Marauder gets the going full read award of this episode, getting into the pit.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So destructive criticism moves on to the final, and we call this episode Tank Bowl for a reason. Here's another reason. This heat final was a complete tank.
Well, not only do you have a robot with a militaristic theme to it, and a general, so, yeah, technically we have 2 tanks in the Tank Bowl, and oh, what a tank this fight was.
One hit, and both bots stopped moving.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm honestly surprised the crowd didn't go full smart mark and go, restart the match! Restart the match! Restart the match!
You know, if destructive criticism had stayed still and both were counted out, they probably would have had to restart the match. Yeah, because you know how, I recall on the Team Tornado site, I think both Chaos 2 and Tornado broke down at the same time.
Yeah,
and
that's
what
yeah.
happened in the match.
They had
Yeah.
to redo it didn't they have to redo it like 2 or 3, like twice, I think?
Yeah, they did it 3 times. I think one time the arena got damaged. Another time they both broke down, and then the third time was the time you saw it on TV. But
Yeah.
just one hit. Destructive criticism lost the chain. General Chomps-a-Lot didn't get going again. That was it. That was your heat final.
Yeah.
Ugh. Although it was funny seeing destructive criticism pushing General Chomps-a-Lot's wheel into the pit, and
Yeah.
we get this cheap sound effect for it. That's the one positive I'm giving to this match.
I didn't
because
hear the sound effect. I gotta listen to it.
You gotta
again.
listen to it again. It's funny. 2002, and they're still using cheap sound effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but what can you do? The right robot won. I just wish it was a better performance.
Yeah.
So I'm scared.
I'm sorry. I'm rewatching the clip, and there's a point where when he pushes the wheel into the pit, destructive criticism has nearly has one wheel over the pit, and if they fell in the pit, that would have been the worst upset in anything. Oh my god.
It would have been funny though.
Yeah.
But Chomps-a-Lot was immobilized far longer than
Yeah.
that. So it would have been like Razor falling into the pit.
Yeah.
After the Rick match, but yeah, not a whole lot to say about the match. There were some good moments in this episode, and the right robot won, but a lot of the matches were over too quick.
Yeah.
Some of the robots didn't really work all that well, and we had a heat final end in a one-hit KO, and not like a Tombstone style one-hit KO, just a little nudge. Yeah, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give it a 5.
I'll give it a 4.
How about you, Infernal Tank?
I guess a 6, I guess.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think with Extreme Warriors, it's either the episodes tend to be usually either average or okay. Unfortunately, I think the best episode, hands down, is the final.
Yeah, I agree. And this episode, this is like a very middle of the road episode where it's the penultimate heat before we move on to the last heat and then the grand final. But yeah, it was just there, honestly. But as much as we speak negative about this match, it's still better than the next episode, which is Heat H, which features some Nickelodeon all-star machines such as Bunny Attack and Tyrannobot, and Xylon, and Falcon Mark II, and Paul Bunyan, and Buzz. Yeah, I've already watched the episode, but I will say it's not going to be a very pretty watch. So
Get the beer, Brandon. It's gonna be a doozy.
I got some Paul Bunyan on the way, so don't worry. But yep, that's for next week before we move on to the main championship. And yeah, that does it for this episode of the Hardcore Podcast. Anything else we want to say? Like, there's, BuggleBot's registration ends on the 18th, I believe, so if you haven't checked in, be able to send out an application, show pictures of your robot,
Yes.
and also send some updates as well. I've just given Mondo Bizarro some modifications for BuggleBots, so I'm not going to share any now, but I'm only sharing them with the BuggleBots teams. But if you want to share your bots and apply, you can always message them on the Facebook page or send them an email at the BuggleBots website. So that should be a lot of fun. And also worth noting, but all the BattleBots teams have shipped their bots out to California, Long Beach.
Filming is this week or next week?
It's both.
Both?
Yeah, it's till the 22nd, I think.
Easter weekend.
Because I know some people that are that had to miss sword fights because they're going to see the filming.
Yeah. And well, good luck to all the teams out there. I hope they do well and make some very entertaining matches. And so this ends this episode of the Hardcore Podcast. We're going to be doing a review of the G1 Supercard in another video next. That's going to be on my Brandon Nichols YouTube page. So if you're a wrestling fan or if you're a big fan of Ring of Honor or New Japan, go check out that video too. I'll have the link in the description. Until then, I am the Hardcore Kid.
I'm Otaku Nate.
I'm Nate. The other Nate, though.
The Infernal Tank.
All right.
Peace out and cease.
Bye.
Time to play, pendejo!